Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Slocum. I'm an ITAM Technical Practice Director at GlideFast. Today, I'm going to show you a video on changes to software asset management's reclamation rules in the ServiceNow Vancouver release. I'm going to show you the differences between what has been in the norm for some time in a Tokyo instance and what is new in Vancouver. To do that, I'm going to look at the ServiceNow documentation and show you in an instance what the documentation is telling you with words. Here we are at the ServiceNow documentation for Software Reclamation Rules. It gives a general overview and identifies what they do. And if you're a software asset admin or someone working with ServiceNow software asset management, you understand the basic overview. So I'm going to skip that just a moment. This note is kind of important. The products in the software products related list on a reclamation rule are based on the content updates in the software asset management content service. For example, if a suite component has been added or removed from a suite parent, the change is reflected in the software products related list. Now, why did they say suite parents and components? And that's because in Vancouver, it now takes into account suite components and suites, and it leverages the data coming from the content library to do that. It also, of course, does what it used to do, and that is if there's a single product, it leverages it as a single product. And if you create a custom product and you have the details for a removal in your instance, you can still add those as well. So let us take a look at what they're trying to say here. But first, one more thing. After a suite parent is added to a reclamation rule, you can edit or delete suite components. You can also edit or delete the suite parent. If you delete the suite parent, the suite components are also automatically deleted along with product processes. If you edit a suite parent, then changes to the edit are reflected for the suite components. Example. So if you change the suite parent from O365 to Microsoft Word, then of course all the suite components are going to go away, and anything that's related to Microsoft Word, if it has suite components, will be added. So those are some pretty cool things around suite components and suite parents. You also have the new addition of filter conditions, and I'm going to get to that in just a minute. But let's take a look at what this looks like. So here in a Vancouver instance, I have added just my generic Microsoft Office. Here underneath, it added the software product parent of Microsoft Office and all the basic subcomponents, suite components for it. I'll get to this filter condition in just a moment. I want to show you the difference of what this looks like in Tokyo. So here in Tokyo, I added Office, and that's all you have. So if you are trying to uninstall the entire suite, you may or may not be successful because the product processes that go into account for Microsoft Office are just these two, whereas in Vancouver, now you have the product processes for all of the different components, and there's 26 of them. Note it also gives you a warning at the top. The Skype for Business, Microsoft SharePoint, Workspace, Schedule Plus software products do not have product processes in this content. Create custom processes here. And so it takes you right to the place where you can create custom processes, and then they will be added to the product processes in the reclamation rule. There is also a difference in the header. So if I go back to the out-of-box Tokyo release, you have Microsoft Office installed software last use date, because I chose that for the reclamation type. You choose the last use data, and then you have notify user. And if you do the notify user, this is conditional. It tells you how many days to wait for a user response before it auto reclaims. That is the same here in Vancouver. However, you also now have an assignment group. You can choose no activity, and you have this software install condition, which we are really accustomed to seeing on a software model record, where you begin to, in reconciliation, identify which software installations that are impacted. So you can do the same here. Adding a software install condition at the reclamation rule level will allow this to filter out or exclude certain software installations. And that would be maybe for a VIP or for installs that are in a lab where you don't have much usage very often, that sort of thing. And so this begins to allow you to very systematically identify what you want to keep versus what you want to auto reclaim. Additionally, the filter that I alluded to in the filter conditions here in the instructions on the ServiceNow doc site identify that you can add a filter condition at the suite parent level, and those will be automatically complied to all the suite components. And if you open that parent, you can add it from the product related list, your filter. You can see that filter condition. I found that is significantly simpler to do from the office. I created one here. I simply clicked into it. It automatically opened the record, and I chose language is English. So creating that filter for the suite parent then applies to all suite components. The suite components don't reflect those in the UI. However, if you open one and attempt to add a filter, it's grayed out, indicating that the parent filter is applicable to this suite component. So all in all, this Vancouver release for reclamation rules gets a big uplift that allows you to carefully manage what is impacted by reclamation rules, and you don't accidentally uninstall something, and you don't have to have your admins go through the process of identifying, wait a minute, this is for a VIP, or this device that it's attempting to reclaim from. When you have a removal candidate record review before you kick off the reclamation workflow, they can identify these here automatically, systematically, instead of manually, simplifying their job. There's one more thing I need to show you before we sign off, and that is here under the documentation, the notes about upgrading to Vancouver. Your current reclamation rules, if you have any in your Utah or below ServiceNow instances, will not automatically take into account suite components and suites. And so, according to the note here, you must remove the suite parent from your reclamation rule and re-add it. So build into your upgrade process the removal and addition of your suite parents in your current reclamation rules, and expect that to take a little time.